What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 16 of Sales Stories in Real Life, the show where professional salespeople and marketers talk about their experiences about times when they were on the receiving end and they were being sold to. Today, we have an up-and-coming star in the LinkedIn world. She works at marketing at Nectar. Nectar is an employee rewards and recognition platform. She 5x'd her LinkedIn following in 5 months. Welcome to the show, Emily Mireault. I hear you had some really interesting experiences when it was time to choose a college. What happened there, Emily?
I did. Yeah. I'm just going to jump into the full story because as I was thinking about this, I was like, this is a tale to tell. And wow, can you learn some things as a salesperson? So let's fast forward all the way back to I started touring when I was a freshman in high school at colleges. Like I'm that type of buyer. Toured 20 plus colleges, started when my brother started, really got a feel for like, do I want public or private? Do I want small or big? And narrowed it all the way down. So I'm on the first tour at the college I ended up going to at the end of the day called Augsburg. Super hot day, but 2 things about this tour stuck out to me. So the first one was right before the tour started, they kind of broke us down into groups. They said, what do you think your major is going to be? Obviously, lots of people change their major. Some are undecided. But I was like, business for sure. Like, I know where I'm going. I'm marketing, like business. And we got put in a group with somebody who was in the business world and had a business major. And the tour was catered to us. Like, we didn't spend 10 minutes in the music hall because I am not musically talented. So we spent time where the business people spend time. We spent time touring the sports facilities because we had some athletes in our group. We spent time on this catered tour that met our needs, not just their canned, like, here's every single thing we have on campus that you might someday enjoy. And that was super, super special. And even if you were undecided, then they could do their canned tour and then try to cater and ask questions along the way. But I've known what I wanted to do for a long time. So that was huge. Second thing, remember, it was a super hot day. So we get back after this awesome catered tour and they open this big cooler and it is filled with like freezies and popsicles and all these things. And I'm not even a big freezy girl. Like I wouldn't go for a freezy on a normal hot summer day. I'd go for like, I don't know, ice cream or cold water or something. And it was like the bow on top of a perfect present. I was like, this is amazing. And it was so funny. I was thinking back and I made a spreadsheet of the colleges and everything. And one of the things I remembered was like, they gave those freezies after that hot day. Like that was cool. So they had, they were top of the list. I still had other tours to do. I had narrowed it down. I want this small private university. I want to be within an hour from home. All my criteria laid out. I went to multiple tours at the colleges that did rise to the top because again, that kind of buyer didn't make the decision on the first go around. So fast forward to 2 tours later, and I had already applied to the college at this point. So I didn't really know what to expect, but it was like, okay, this could either like seal the deal or if something goes wrong, I get there and the admissions counselor, her name was Shauna. She looks at me and hands me a piece of paper. And I was like, this is weird. Like there's all these other people in line. Some haven't applied yet. Like what's going on? And she verbally said, you've been accepted to Augsburg. Congrats. And then she proceeded to tell me, also on top of that, we were so impressed by you. We loved your essay. You got the highest academic scholarship. She was like pumping my tires. I was like, I feel on top of the world. I feel like my accomplishments in high school, my extracurriculars led me to this moment. And I feel like she really went out of her way for me. And I felt like a big shot. And it was just, again, like the bow on top of the present when she said the scholarship and kind of explained why and how that happened. It's like when the buyer gets a discount because they have 500 employees, like they didn't do anything special. You just have volume-based discounts, but they feel so special when you position it in a way of like, you're awesome. And here's why you're getting that. So I made the decision in my mind that day, committed a few weeks later officially. And yeah, went to Augsburg and had a great experience.
This is so good because I feel like when a lot of people think about, let me choose a college, they don't think like, let me see who gives the best sales pitch, right? Let me see who sells me the best, right? You're just taking tours, willy nilly. Oh, let me, see what looks cool and XYZ. So I want to talk about some negative experiences because I know that you toured some colleges that didn't go so great. But first, a couple points I want to move in on is number one, when you're talking about a decision of going to a college, this is a huge decision, not only career and education wise, but financially, right? And it's so funny how the little things that seem to have made such a big deal were ices, right? And freezies, and someone, enthusiastically telling you, hey, you got accepted and we loved your essay and we loved this and we loved that, versus kind of like inhumanely almost like just getting a letter, right? That, thousands of other people got, right? So I guess kind of like if you could talk to those couple of experiences just really briefly before we dive into the negative experiences, right? Like what's going through your head at those moments, right? Because that you're choosing between a whole lot of schools, where you're leaning towards, and then you use the word cherry on top. What's going through your head at those exact moments?
Yeah, at those moments, I'm like, it almost flipped the script from the buyer is so awesome, or this prospect or this, gal touring a college is so awesome, to wait, you're so awesome. Like we both have to decide that this is a fit for us. And I had already applied. So I'd already shown interest. Right. At that point, when she had said that, they had shown interest in me. And it just married up in this way that was like, oh my goodness, it just felt like we both mutually made the decision that my needs were solved by what they provided. And so we went with it. And others could have solved those needs too, but they didn't do it in a way that spoke to me as well.
I love what you said there too. We both made the mutual decision. That's like such same side of the table selling. I love that. That's so transferable to sales. And we'll get to that a pinch later. I have so many questions I want to ask you. I'm all excited over here. So we heard about the good experience and the cherries on top and how they went above and beyond and really made everything special. You went to some tours that weren't so great, right? So what were some of the differences that you noticed from colleges or universities that weren't doing as great of a job as the one that you ended up choosing did?
Yeah. So I actually have a full story on the flip side of it. It's not like we had another great tour on a hot day and they didn't offer freezies. No, it was shocking to say the least. So again, small private college was like my thing. So there were only, 5 or 6 to choose from within the radius that I was looking at. And I'm not going to name names because I don't want to throw people under the bus. That's not cool. But I did this kind of all day tour thing where they almost had like a mock day in the life. So part of this was a mock class, and we had a professor teach the class to us. And it was this like writing class. And I was like, cool. I've always liked writing classes. This should be fun. And the professor gave us an assignment for an in-class assignment and said, we're going to write what you would put in a time capsule that you could open up later in life. And I was like, cool. When you put in a time capsule, you're not too worried about grammar and like being the perfect writing queen. You're like, I want to write something that's going to speak to me. Like I just wrote whatever was on my mind. I don't even remember what it was. And we turned them in anonymously. They said, don't write your name. I said, great. And then she proceeds to start reading some of them out loud. And I was like, where are we going with this? Like, okay. So she reads the first one out loud. And it's pretty normal. She was like, oh yeah, interesting. And like gave a little bit of feedback here and there, but nothing out of the ordinary. Second one she reads is mine. Luckily, nobody knew because it was anonymous. She starts ripping it to shreds. She's like, this is grammatically inconsistent. It wasn't like, here's some helpful, constructive criticism. It was like, here's why you're a horrible writer and you should never put this in a time capsule. And I felt like blindsided. I'm like, I'm on a tour of your college. You could get hundreds of thousands of dollars from my family if I make the decision to go here. And you're telling me that I should never put this in a time. Like, I left in the middle of the mock day. I didn't even stay it till the end. And I am not that type of person either. So yeah, two very different experiences on my college tours, but
I had to work so hard just there to not laugh into the microphone. Oh my God. As soon as you told me she was reading them out loud when they were submitting them anonymously, my heart just like dropped to the floor. And I didn't even know that you were going to go into the tearing to shred part. Oh my God. Let's go back to some more positive stuff really quick.
Let's do it.
Because we've got some B2B sellers that are listening and they want some takeaways that can help them to get better at their daily role. And so what would you say to them, right? Like what are some takeaways that a B2B seller could take away from listening to your both good and bad experiences?
Yeah. First one, go all the way back to that first tour I was on where they broke us down by department. Like, do your discovery well. Listen to what they are looking for. Like, if your platform does 45 things, but they care about 4, you should spend at least 80% of your demo or your call or your intro talking about those 4 things. Because if you just talk features all day long that aren't relevant to them, you're probably going to lose the deal, even if your features are better than the competitor who can more eloquently articulate the points that they are currently experiencing as pain points. So that's my big one. Should we go into more?
I'm going to chop that and make it its own little clip because that was so perfect. Please keep going.
That's my main one. I mean, obviously the cherry on top type of stuff is awesome. If you can add in the freezies, if you use some of that stuff, that's great. But I would say my other main point is paint your prospect or your future customer is kind of how I think we should talk about prospects. Paint your future customer as the hero. Here's what you're doing so well as a business. Here's how we plug into that good thing and make it great. You're the hero. You did all this work in high school. And now I'm going to, give you this scholarship and get you into college. You did great. Like, they painted me as the hero. I became part of that. They became part of my story. So how can you become part of their hero story instead of them becoming part of yours is huge.
That's so good. Yes, I love it. Man, Emily, you absolutely smashed it. I can't believe at the time of our recording this right now, this will be the second podcast you have done. Like I told you in pre-recording, I'm making a not so bold prediction that a lot of people are going to invite you on. You were amazing. Why don't you take a minute and plug something here with the audience before we jump off? Because I know that you've got a lot you're working on.
Yeah, lots in the works. But as of now, honestly, just follow me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm building my audience and building, that community. So more to come there, but that's where to find me.
Everyone, follow Emily on LinkedIn. If you're not already, you will be inspired. You will, and I'll actually say this too. You embody a lot of your takeaways in your LinkedIn approach as well. Like when you're following Emily, you feel like you're part of her family, right? Like you feel like you're part of her community. Like you're not just reading a post that's posted at you. So you very much practice what you preach in that sense, Emily. Thank you so much for taking the time to jump on with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome. What a cool way to structure sales stories in real life.
Yes, we will see you all next week. Thanks again.